Welcome everybody. Welcome
Hey.
everybody to the Ranting Ron Show. Tonight I have my good friends Matt Greco and Matt Garino from wittyNOTfunny Sports Talk. How you guys doing tonight?
Good.
Good. Feeling witty. Ready to rant with the best of them.
Yeah.
So, how you doing yourself, Ron?
I'm doing good. We're living the quarantine life right now. I'm not working. My office is closed. But if the weather gets a little better, I think that's going to help a lot. We got a trampoline out there now. It was nicer a month ago than today. Today was snowing, but it looks like the weather's supposed to get better over the next few days and hopefully continue that as we move into later May and June, Memorial Day and all that stuff. How about you guys?
Yeah, I'm doing fine myself. 2 kids at home. We're getting a little Stockholm syndrome, but we're trying to get out as much as we can, and we're just taking it day by day. So we have a trampoline as well. That was a clutch purchase recently for my daughter's birthday, so that's helped.
That's cool.
We're just getting by. It would be nice if sports came back. I tell you that right now. That would give us something. Matt's been watching the Jacksonville Bratwurst cornhole tournaments.
Yeah,
Johnsonville,
Johnsonville,
whatever it is.
Does it matter?
That's how irrelevant it is to me.
Here's the best part. It wasn't even new. It was from 2014.
I got the Sabres game 2 versus Montreal in the 74-75 third round of the playoffs. So, and this is supposed to be one of the best games for that year. So, so if I drift off a little bit, I'm going back to when I was 7 years old. Now I don't remember a thing about this. So, but
did that team actually kill penalties?
I don't know, man. It's weird. The board's all white and the goalies are small, so it's so different.
Yeah. No padding.
Yeah. So what I'll do is, because you're both Matts, and you're both Matt G's, I will call you Greco to
Perfect.
my to my right. Looks to my left here, and and then Mr. Garino is below me. So we're going to go with that. So we'll start with Mr. Greco here. The Buffalo Bills schedule came out a week ago, and I predicted we have 2 primetime games, As good as we were last year, we were a couple of field goals away from our teams not even making the playoffs. Is our team really worthy of 4 primetime games? Were you surprised when you saw it?
Yeah, I think we are. I mean, the primetime Bills, as everyone likes to deem ourselves now on Twitter, but this is a team on the rise, right? 2 the last 3 years on the McDermott Bean era, they make the playoffs. They have an exciting young quarterback in Josh Allen who seems to come alive when the primetime games happen and when the lights are the brightest, right? We look at the Dallas game last year at Thanksgiving. We look at Pittsburgh, even though it wasn't his best game, he was clutch in many moments. I think they are worthy. I think they're an exciting team. The power rankings of national media have them in the top 5. They're the favorites to win the AFC East, despite what McDermott and Bean say. It's still the Patriots' mantle for them to take. So I do think they're worthy of the 4 primetime games. And, why not, right? It's a young, exciting team. It's a good coach, a great defense. I'm excited to see it. It stinks that we get 4 primetime games in a season where there might not be any fans in the stadiums, because I don't know. There's something about the respect of getting primetime games, right? I don't think people care about whether or who or when we play these teams. I think it's about when the schedule comes out, people want to see primetime games because Buffalo and Buffalonians, in fact, want respect. And primetime games mean a national audience, mean national attention from the media and respect, right? So now that we're getting that respect, are they going to be able to answer the call? It'll be interesting to see what they do. The schedule this year is much more difficult than last year based on last year's opponents' records. I think we have one of the top 5 most difficult schedules in the league. So, but it's going to be exciting. I'm happy. I just hope I can experience it with Matt and all the other Bills Mafia out there. That'll be sad if I can't, but it is what it is, and I'm excited. If football comes back in general, I'll be excited.
Right. Now, before I go to Mr. Garino here with his thoughts on it, I know this is going to be. I just thought about that. I don't know how many are home or are away. I know one's in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
We have 2 home or?
Actually, Pittsburgh's at home this year.
Oh, okay.
It's a Sunday night, so
Right.
we
Oh,
went there
Sunday
for
night.
Sunday night. So
Okay.
I hope they play Renegade at home at the I still call it the Ralph, but at New Era, because that'd be amazing because we own that song now based on last year. But yeah, so it's Pittsburgh's at home, and then I think San Francisco's away on Monday night, and then Patriots away on a Monday night, and then that Thursday night against the Chiefs are the foreign primetime games. And then that Denver game as well at the end of the year is a TBD. So who knows if that'll get flexed to a primetime game.
Or a Saturday game.
Or a Saturday game, yeah. So, but yeah, I'll let Matt comment on his thoughts.
Yeah, Mr. Greeno, what do you say? You were turning off your cornhole game, waiting for that schedule to come out. What did you saw it come out 4 primetime games? What were you thinking?
I was excited. I mean, I think they've earned it. Last year, I think the Pittsburgh game on Sunday night, and you add that with the Thanksgiving Day game against Dallas, where they just throttled the Cowboys in the time slot where everyone's watching. Yeah, I think 4 is definitely warranted. They made the playoffs doing 10-6, and I fully expect them to win the division this year. I really do. I think anything else will be a failure, in my opinion. I know that's really high standards to have around here lately for the Bills, but a team who is on the verge of winning the division, or should be, I think it should be in at least a few primetime games. So I'm happy with 4 of them, and I could care less who the opponents are. I just want to have some football. And like Greco said, I just want to be able to hopefully to go. I mean, I've had season tickets with my family since I was pretty much a fetus. And there's only been so many night games, and most of them, at least that I can remember, have been disasters, like the Dallas one.
Yeah,
there was
ESPN's
a Monday
been
night.
re-airing.
Yeah, that was just on. Yeah, it was just on. Oh God. And then the Cleveland one, people forget about that. That was like 2 years after, where Lindell went wide right and missed a field goal to win the game.
I was at that one.
Oh, you're at that one? Yeah, exactly. So
that was, it started snowing at the end.
Yep, of course it did. Yep, of course. Yeah. And so I think they've earned it, and they're a good team, and I think in all of those games they should compete and hopefully win half of them, if not all of them. That'd be great.
Yeah.
Yeah, you really think they should go? I mean, looking at this year's AFC East opponents, at least, and looking at just the division title, they should go, and it's going to be extremely difficult, but their roster on paper shows me that they should go 6-0 in the division this year. Patriots are obviously on kind of this post-Brady era downward trend. The Jets, we don't really know what they are yet, and the Dolphins are obviously in a rebuild. So the Bills on paper have the best team, and I think the first half of the season is going to be a good telling of where this team is, and because you have 2 AFC East games right off the bat, in the Jets and the Dolphins, and that's going to be prove-it games. Those are teams we should beat, right? And then in week 3, you get the Rams, 2 years ago removed from the Super Bowl, so they're looking to bounce back from a disappointing season last year. We got the Raiders moving to Vegas. That's an away game that, if there's a crowd, will be pumped. And then Tennessee and the Chiefs. So, I mean, those first 6 games, you're going to tell a lot about this team, I think.
Yeah. I'm with you on we should win the division. Now, if we go 12-4 and Patriots go 13-3, but we swept the Patriots, we don't win the division, I wouldn't be disappointed then, because what are you going to do, 12-4?
Yeah.
Do we have any fear of 2007, though, when as soon as Brady got knocked out in the first week of the season, we were thinking, hey, it's going to be a whole different season, and yet they missed the playoffs at 11-5, which doesn't happen, but they were still a good team. I've always believed Patriots were based on Brady, not Belichick. Belichick was carried by Brady. Yeah, I'm not saying Belichick's not a great coach. He's a great coach. Great coaches are made by great players. They don't have that great player anymore. So should we, I don't see the Patriots winning more than 8 games, but who knows? I mean, it's if we can only do what we can do. So I have a little fear that Patriots might not be dead yet, but, we could hope.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I was just going to say that's been everyone's hope ever since Tom Brady was no longer in existence in the division, whether he retired or he moved on. But I mean, the reality of the situation is 2007. You're right. I mean, it did happen. Matt Castle, who was he? Right? He came in and they won. What was it, 10-6 or 11-5? And
11-5 and missed the plafirst.
Yeah.
You mean Bill's Wall of Famer, Matt Castle?
Yeah, Bill's
future Wall of Famer.
Took the first snap of the first game started.
Gets a win.
Gotta win.
Yeah, you got to win out of it. But, I mean, who knows, right? Like, I am not expecting them to be a team that's going to be dabbling in, like, the 12-win mark like they typically are, that 11-12 to 13-win Mark, but I could definitely see them being anywhere between 7 to 9 wins just because of the coach, just because of that culture, that team. I think, the Bills division, you still have teams like Miami who the Patriots kind of struggle with, but at the same time, I think they'll beat the Patriots and the Jets probably in New England or just split those games. And I don't think they're going away completely just yet. I think they're still going to be a highly competitive team and, not as easy to beat as someone would have you think now that Brady and Gronkowski was gone last year, but Brady and Gronk are officially gone and moved on. I don't think they're going to just be an easy out still.
Right. It never is with a defense like theirs. So we'll wrap up on that little portion there. I have the Bills going 11-5. I probably predict that record every year anyways. It usually seems to be pretty easy. On paper, I forgot who said it. Someone famous, not famous, somebody out there well-known said on paper we're 12-4. Where do you guys each, we'll start with Garino. Where do you see the Bills' final record being?
I am 100% right with you, 11 wins.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I agree too. Like I said, I think the first half of the schedule, if they come out of it in those first 8 games 6-2, I think the division's kind of they're on cruise control for the division. That second, if you look at the second half of the schedule, it is extremely tough. They're going back and forth across the country every week. They're home at Seattle, then they go away to Arizona, home to San Diego, away to San Francisco. So that's going to be really tolling on this team, all that travel. It would be nice to have, San Francisco and Chargers be both away where they could stay out on the West Coast or something like that. So,
yeah,
that's going to be difficult. I say 10-6 just because of that second half of the schedule looks a little more daunting with the travel. And you never know. There's so many variables this season with Corona and COVID, the health of these players, the training in the off season of these players. There's so many variables that are unknown. What if Josh Allen goes down? It's just such a toss up this year. But like I said, like you said earlier, we can't go by any of this extra stuff. We just got to go on paper, and hopefully there's a season that's as normal as any other season before this. And I think they're at least a 10-6 team.
Yeah, I think right now when you make a prediction before a year starts, you could have all your players throughout the year. If Josh Allen goes down early, then that changes everything. So when you make predictions, it's usually based on that. And one thing I do know how I feel is you look at the NFL, you said, it's going to be tough. And you didn't really say really who the teams were that made it tough, but more about the travel, which is that's much better because you don't know year to year who the better teams are. Right. Last year, the Rams weren't that great after being in the Super Bowl. And it's so, you're basing the strength of schedule off last year when a lot of times you cannot do that. So, all right. Well, that's awesome. And, hopefully we're talking playoffs. Hope we're talking football in September. We need that so badly. So
hopefully we're talking football in January because they made the playoffs. There's 7 teams this year, so we hope they make the playoffs. But I'd rather talk about football in January, February.
Oh, I know. Well, I want the season to start. That's all. That's why I'm more went about. So, all right. So switching gears here while I'm watching this game between Montreal and Buffalo. Guy Lafleur just took a penalty. Hey. It's 0-0 in the first.
Keep us posted.
I'll bet you guys I know who the series.
I got money on it, Ron. Keep me posted.
Okay.
Yeah.
Garino would beat me in the cornhole one because I have no idea what channel that would even be on. But
I just looked. It's ESPN2. I know the rules now, so yeah, you're right. It probably would.
All right, so let's switch topic to our second favorite team in the city, the Bandits. No, I'm just kidding. We're going to go to the Sabres now. So the NHL is proposing they want to finish the season either as playoffs or I don't know. Personally, as a fan, I want to see hockey again, but I'd be really okay if they just cancel the season. But they're talking about having the draft still in June, and part of it is they can trade draft picks, but not trade players. And my whole thing going into this off season when was after just whenever it was going to end was one of my previous shows is should the Sabres trade their first overall pick for a player or, not first overall pick, but, the first round picks, whoever's going to be 5th, 6th, 7th overall, might be 3rd overall, but should they trade it away, trying to bring back a really already proven top 6 player, maybe a first round pick and say Risto or somebody, whatever, but to bring back a player. But that changes everything if they have this draft in June before the season ends and they're not allowed to trade any players. And then you come to find out in August they decide not to have a season. So is the NHL off the wall trying to even hold the draft before the possibility of a season ending? Greco.
Yeah, I'll take the reins here. I really think this argument's two-sided. It's surprising to me that they want to do a draft before the season is possibly done. They haven't obviously called it quits on the season yet. I believe the AHL did recently just cancel the season.
Yesterday.
What I saw from the Amherst.
Yeah, yesterday.
So, I mean, does NHL follow suit? I don't know. But it's two-sided, right? To me, it's yes, I would say it's a good thing. And I think the NHL wants it because they just saw the success the NFL draft had. And I think this culture, casual sports fans just want something involved with sports on TV. That's why the NFL draft ratings were so high. That's why it was so successful. It was put on. And I think NHL's just trying to piggyback off that and get some of that, kind of publicity, if you will, or PR.
Well, hold that thought. But the NFL, though, they haven't missed a beat because their season is off. So, okay, go ahead.
No, I totally agree with that. I mean, the seasons do not, coincide with each other at all, right? The NHL offseason is much different, or at a much different time frame than the NFL offseason. I'm just saying to have something on TV. People are the WNBA draft a couple weeks ago. Was the most viewership that's ever received, and I doubt a lot of people. And it's an up and coming league, yes, but I think just people want sports, anything involved with it. That's why I'm saying maybe they just are trying to get that momentum. So, but you're right. I mean, what are they going to do? I mean, there's medicals. The NHL has international travel. NFL does not. All the players are American. So, how are these?
Well, we have a Canadian.
Oh, that's right. Sorry.
There's a couple Canadians.
Yeah, there's a couple Canadians. Is that still a country? Yeah.
Well, we have Christian Wade. He's Australian. Is he Australian?
I thought he was British, but I could be.
Oh, my bad.
Oh yeah, maybe it's Britain. Well, Britain, Canada, same thing, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah. Who knows?
So, Garino, you have any thoughts on that? Greco, are you done? I'm sorry.
No, I was just going to say, I'm sure the scouting is a little behind in terms of these international guys and getting them proper medicals. What are they doing in their off-season workouts? Like scouting departments for teams can't. I don't know if they can keep up with what's going on right now and keep track of what these players and what they're doing. And you add to the fact that they can't be any trades because who knows if they'll have a playoffs. And that could change a team's whole draft strategy, right?
Yes.
Say they have a playoffs in July and somebody's franchise defenseman gets hurt. That'll change a team's whole draft strategy. Instead of drafting the top forward, maybe they draft the top defenseman now, right? So you never know. It just seems like a little rushed to have the draft in June, but I mean, I think Batman sees the success of the NFL and wants to capitalize on it. So that's probably my final thought.
I still don't think it's going to happen. I know TV's pushing for it, but they got to be smart on this one. So, right. Garino, what are your thoughts on the draft being held before a season might even end?
Yeah, I'm in complete agreement. What a surprise with Greco again. We tend to think the same on most things, but I think the reason that it's even a topic or a possibility right now is because of the success that the NFL draft had, and the NHL wants to kind of piggyback off that. And, I know we love hockey. I'm a diehard hockey fan, love the sport, but we all kind of know that out of the four major sports leagues, the NHL is probably the most poorly run league. So any chance that they can get to gain some traction there, I think they're going to go for. I just don't think it's a good idea because you limit your possibilities. We were just talking about how you wouldn't be able to trade players. Well, if I'm the Sabres, that's probably one of the biggest things I'm going to want to do in the offseason is try to move Ristolainen like they've been trying to do and possibly trade a draft pick with him or just whatever package they're going to put together to go out there and get an impact player on offense. I mean, that's what I'm assuming they are thinking because that's what every Sabres fan is thinking is we just need a better second line. We have one line. Yeah. So, that already limits that, and I don't see it happening while it's still in the season. The only thing I could compare it to is that, I'm a baseball fan. I'm a big baseball fan, but I'm not going to pretend like I know the ins and outs of the drafts. But I do know that they have their draft mid-season every year. I don't know the specifics around it and how it works, but that's one league that I do know that does it. So.
They have 102 rounds.
Yeah, exactly. It's like it's a whole freaking event. Right. So, I mean, not that the NFL draft isn't, but yeah, it's different. But I just don't see it happening. I think it's really, really a pipe dream for the NHL to pull that off right now.
All right. We're going to stop right here for a moment, everybody, and we're going to go get a word from our sponsor. And again, this week's sponsor is Dinosaur Barbecue. And look for the magic sandwich up there. And if you see it and you send me a direct message what that sandwich is, you'll get a $25 gift card to Dinosaur Barbecue. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everybody, to the second half of the Ranting Ron Show. Once again, I have Matt Greco and Matt Garino. Matt Garino from wittyNOTfunny Sports. So I think you're wearing an Oriole hat, so it throws me off. But
no,
Matt
Buffalo
Greco's
Braves.
got the hat, the orange hat, and Matt Garino, who's on the low end, is got, I don't know.
Padres?
Padres hat. Wow.
Oh, yeah, San Diego Padres.
Yeah, I got Buffalo Braves, Ron.
All right. Oh, okay. I thought it was the Astros for a minute there or something.
Nah.
There you go. All right. So just before we took the break, we were talking. You brought up a point about a line. We need a second line. I think, and because I'm a fan, I can only guess. I would guess maybe Cousins is ready to be that center spot. Now think about it. You take that second or third line. People say, well, he's probably not ready to put him on a third line. What's the difference between the second and third line? You roll lines. You're hockey players. They go out. Imagine Cousins setting up Skinner. Skinner had a rough year. He had 14 goals, but his shooting percentage was 7%. Last year it was 14%. A lot of it's on him. It wasn't because he wasn't playing with Eichel. A lot of it might have been, but he still got a lot of shots. He was right on par, except his shooting percentage was half. So he was going to probably end up with maybe hit the 20-goal mark. He was warming up the last couple of games before the break, before the pause. But do you guys feel like, we were talking about I feel they need to make a trade that the first round pick. Should they, should it have to be for a second line center, or do you think maybe Cousins is that guy? I mean, just real quick touch on that real quick. We'll go with Mr. Garino.
Yeah, I think so. I just want to see a little bit more of him. He was pretty impressive, when we got to see the very little bit before he was injured. Certainly has impressive film. But, I want to see a little bit more of him in person, I guess, for lack of a better term, before I could really commit to thinking that he's going to be able to step in this season, if there is a season, and help. I'm hopeful that he can. I think he could be able to. I'm not sure if we're there yet. I need to see just a little bit more before I can really be confident on that.
Right. And again, it is just a guess.
Yeah, right. Of course. I mean, he could be. He absolutely could be. There's no reason he can't.
Yeah, he was impressive in the preseason last year, and I know fans were kind of clamoring for him to at least – I don't even know if he was eligible for that 10-game kind of trial period, but fans want him on the roster period because of what he showed last year. But it's two-sided, right? You get a guy with the skill in a position you need, right, in second-line center, but you don't want to rush him because you've rushed a lot of guys, and it's backfired, right? You rushed Grigorenko when he was the next second line coming, a great center. You rushed Casey Middlestat, and now he's kind of finding his game back in the AHL, right? And maybe on the wing. So who knows if he's even the second line center? So that's the only thing I'm a little reserved about is I don't want to rush him into it. And plus the fact that when he was drafted, he looked like he was 13 years old. I don't know if he's ready for what the NHL has to offer, but he is talented. I will say that, and he's skilled. So. Obviously, it didn't work out with Johansson. I think they wanted him to be the second-line center. He's obviously much better on the wing, as we saw throughout this past season. And, you mentioned Skinner, too. I don't know what happened to Skinner, honestly, and I don't know if Kruger knows how to use him correctly. I mean, you saw a lot of times where either his minutes were down from last year or he wasn't used in overtime or he wasn't used in the shootout. I don't know if, he's just on the coach's bad list or something, but he needs to find his game, and I think he needs a center to kind of help him do that. So, a lot of people have been clamoring for Johan Larsson to get bumped up to the second line center just because of some advanced analytics stuff. And I like Johan Larsson a lot. I don't think he's a viable second line center, in his game right now, but maybe Cousins is the answer, and who knows? I hope he is for the sake of this franchise and the sake of this fan base, because it's been a long time where we had any kind of success or good. I mean, this team is constantly, and we'll probably talk about this in the fire pit, but this team is constantly frustrating in terms of non-scoring and penalty kills and things like that. So you're just looking for someone to light a spark, I think, at this point.
All right. Well, hey, speaking of lighting a spark, let's go into the fire pit. You guys ready?
Like that segue?
Ready.
All right. Yeah, you set me up pretty good, All right, guys, let's turn these flames on.
Oh.
All right. So you guys can figure this out here. We got Jason Botterill. Now, should he put the COVID thing aside, he may get a chance just because he might get a break. He might get a lucky break here and be saved because of this whole pause, or he may not. But do either of you feel that Botterill should be given more time, that he's doing this right, slowly? He did Rochester correct. Do either of you feel like, give him some more time? Either one of you. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Matt. You can start.
You know what? You start. I'm collecting my thoughts on where to start here.
Yeah, right. I'll take it. I honestly, I think he's got to go. He's had 3 years to build this roster. You look at the pipeline, and the roster doesn't even. I mean, they're right up against the cap with one of the bottom teams record-wise in the league, in the bottom fourth at least. And one of the bottom teams consistently for the past 3 years under the Botterill era in goals for. Their penalty kill is very poor. He's made some poor trades. We always hark on the O'Reilly trade, but the Frolik trade has been a bust. That guy's been scratched ever since, for the majority of the time, ever since he's come. And Botterill said he would help the penalty kill. And I think Chad and Anthony from expected Buffalo, they're doing a lot of good work in terms of advanced analytics. And I don't think that's the holy grail of, watching sports or analyzing these players, but I do think it's important. And Frolik's constantly, according to them, one of the worst penalty killers on the team. So, I mean, that's a botched trade right there. And we always go back to the Skinner trade, like, okay, he can do something. And, it just hasn't happened. You look at the pipeline too, and the pipeline doesn't even seem that exciting. We mentioned Cousins, and besides that, is there anyone who excites you in the pipeline down in Rochester? They've had some success, but
he brought in Cahoon. That was a good trade for. He brought in
Cahoon. I like, yeah.
The defenseman. I got
Joe Kahari.
Yeah, Joe Kahari. I mean, those are small trades he made that he doesn't get the credit for. I mean, I don't care. I don't even want to discuss the RR trade. I don't want to do it because my feelings are opposite of what most people feel about that.
Sure.
But when it comes to things, so he traded for Frolik. He's not going to be here next year anyway. So, when in Simmons, he's not going to be here. I don't believe. I know he's talking to me. Oh, we're looking. No, he's not going to be here.
Sure, but why do it then? If they're not going anywhere this year, why even trade these guys?
They were at the trade deadline. They were 6 points out with 21 games to go. Bringing a guy like Simmons, they did. I felt okay. They were going for it. They were 6 points out. A little bit of a winning streak here, and we won a game after the trade deadline, and then we lost 6 in a row, and then we beat Washington, and we haven't played since. But going into, we were 6 points back, and we were still. And now people are saying, "Well, we're still not a good chance." You don't know. I mean, you go back and look at the streak by Hutton, and we lost 11 in a row. Even half of those were in a playoff spot. So I don't know. Are we closer than we think or not? We don't know. But I noticed we're sticking around Botterill, but so we did make some small ones. And as far as the cap is concerned, when this season's over, we only have 9 players actually signed. We get some RFAs we got to figure out, but we don't have to. We don't have to bring Gertzen's as a UFA. Larson might not even be here because he's a UFA. That's going to be up to him. So when you think about it, he really ended the team's got half the team.
A lot of their teams not under contract next year. And I just always go back to that gif of the Ottawa game, and we lost to Ottawa way too much this year. Ottawa's not good. They're rolling Tyler Ennis on their first 2 lines. I mean, they're not supposed to be a good team. That's the team we should beat right at this point. Oh. And there's that famous gif of Botterill just throwing the water bottle, and I just say to myself, do good GMs do that? Like, he knows he has a bad team, and if he knows he has a bad team, like he's the one that built it, right? So should we give him any more time? I don't know. It's tough to say because I like the Cahoon trade. I mean, I don't know. You take away the Hutton losing streak, but then say, they go on this wild 10-game win streak again at the beginning of the season like they did last year. Half that as well, because that's kind of an anomaly, right? That doesn't typically happen. And we're kind of back at square one here, in my opinion. So I don't know. I could go either way, but I think his time's up. I think they're going for like a Bean-like person in the Sabres front office, and I just don't know if Botterill's it. So
All right, Matt, you're up. You better get your thoughts straight. Or Matt Greeno. Sorry.
Yeah, no. The reason I said that is because I probably have a greater dislike for him than most Sabres fans.
This will be good.
I think he should be gone. I thought he should have been gone last year.
Yeah.
Before the season even started. I do like Dylan Cahoon. I think he could be a nice player for them. I do like the Yokiaru trade. I mean, we traded a guy who was a complete bust, in my opinion, for him, and he's a serviceable defenseman who can be in a top 6 pairing. But overall, I just, I'm just going to put it this way without getting too in-depth into it. I think, and people could call me crazy if they want to, but I think he's not well respected in NHL circles amongst GMs. I think it's more or less just like he's kind of, I don't want to say a joke, but not looked upon as a real GM who really knows what he's doing based upon some of the things that he's done. I don't want to talk about the ROR trade either, trust me. But I just think I get that vibe, and I get that vibe just by how long it took to sign Skinner and how many things you hear about players not wanting to come to Buffalo. And I know a lot of that probably had to do with the culture even before he got here 3 years ago. But I just think right now, with all this cap room that you have, all these players coming off the books, a new GM should come in here, collaborate with this coach, figure out a plan, and just continue to move forward. Because although I think, some of the smaller moves, as you mentioned, Ron, have been, they've been pretty good. I think there is someone out there who could be doing a better job right now. And I'm at the point where, like, I just can't stand hearing about him anymore. Honestly, I just can't.
Yeah, you bring up a great point right there is, people say, well, you bring a GM, you got to start over. You really don't. If you either you go with them because you let him get to this point saying, okay, you got rid of the lineup, now you build it, or you bring a new GM who says, okay, I'm starting from the very bottom. There's not like a new GM would have to come in and say, oh, well, now we got to start all over. Not really. Any GM comes now this is what you'd want. Like, this is where you say, okay, we either let Botterill, I almost said Bean. We let Botterill say, okay, here you are, rock bottom here, let's go. Or you bring the GM and said, hey, I'm giving you, here you go. You got the best of our best, these 10 guys. We'll fill them where you want. What can you do for us? And I don't know GM names out there available. I mean, we can ring them up. It doesn't matter. But this is where I'm at is, I'm a Botterill. I was a big Botterill guy when we got him. I thought, everything I heard from him was going to be good coming out of Pittsburgh again. I'm disappointed in him. So my gut feeling is when they officially, the season's over, whether it's the playoffs or not, whenever they say the season's officially over, he'll be let go within 48 hours, 72 hours. That's my prediction to make. So,
I agree.
Yeah, and when Botterill came aboard, like all the stories I read, all the articles I read were how he's great at the cap, like controlling the cap and handling that situation. And he's been nothing but the opposite to me. And whereas Bean it seems like a 3-year, 5-year plan where he said, okay, I'm going to, supposedly tank. They didn't. They made the playoffs under the first year of his regime. And then second year, I'm going to dump all this dead cap money. And then third year is where we really go for it. I just don't see that plan with the Sabres. So, like, what are we doing here? Are we just we're supposedly tanking to build, but
wheels.
They're spinning the wheels. Yeah, exactly. So it's back to square one.
Yeah, but we got some good players on his team. I mean, I can envision a top 6 next year. And again, this is me saying you got Eichel in the middle, you get Olofsson on one side, and you get Reinhardt on the other. And then you have a second line, maybe Cousins next to Skinner, Rebu Skinner, maybe Johansson, who shouldn't be a center anyways. There you go. But then again, new GM means new coach, possibly, or does the coach go up to the president of hockey operations? There is talk that that he may be interested in letting go of the reins of the Sabres. And I don't want to get into Pagulas here because I don't trash on it. I don't want to not do that, and I won't allow that. That's no reason. They're business people, so we'll leave the business on the side. We're about
to save the Bills. They saved the Bills. That's all I'd say.
There's nothing negative I'll ever say about the Pagulas.
Yeah. But they're business people, and it's okay. I couldn't tell you who owns the Anaheim Ducks right now. I mean, we shouldn't care as much as we do when it comes to the owners. And, but again, that's the business side. And they, whatever. I do know they want to win and they care about this team, the Sabres. Yeah. I know they do from people I've talked to. They want it. It hurts them to win, they
want to. Cried
in his first, yeah.
Yep,
he obviously cares. Yeah.
And people think, oh, well, he just cares about the Bills now. And that is not true. And people who don't want to hear it, don't want to believe it, whatever. They care about this team and they want them to win. But so did the Knoxes and so did
Those years.
Yeah, those years. Golisano just wanted to save the team so he could find someone to take over, and he did that, and he came the closest to winning. So people say, well, they don't care about Sabres. If the Sabres make the playoffs, I was talking about this with Brian Blessing. If the Sabres make the playoffs, or any NHL makes the playoffs, their money's made in the playoffs. And the first 2 games will then be put them in the plus of the playoffs. They'll be making really good money. Of course, they want to get the team in the playoffs. And when it goes, I'll say one time, I don't know what happened with Ryan O'Reilly. I don't believe he wanted to be here. He said nothing's at the end of the year. I believe, and I don't have nothing to substantiate this, that he didn't want to be here. And Botter's like, told the owners, okay, we got to trade him. But then and they're like, you trade him, it's got to be for that $7 million payout. And do you blame him? They're businessmen. So he probably got forced into a trade. Maybe he wanted a little bit more. And I haven't given up on Tage Thompson yet either. So, all right, gentlemen. All right, guys. Listen, will you guys come on again sometime?
Yeah.
Nice.
All right.
The show around?
Once we have something back with football, if we know football's going to start or whatever, we'll come back. We'll do a roundtable with some other people, and and of course, we'll come back to the next Podathon, which I will have nothing this year. All my charity stuff is off this year. I canceled everything, so you guys will have to wait till 2021. But I got some plans in place. I promise, and we'll get together again.
Can we get a plug in for the show real quick?
Oh, absolutely. Go ahead. Tell us about your funny, not witty. Oh, I'm sorry. Witty, not funny.
There you go. Yeah, we're not funny. We're just 2 guys who probably think we're funnier than we are, in all honesty. But, it's at Witty Sports 716 on Twitter. But it's the Witty Not Funny Sports Podcast. We're like the self-proclaimed #1 podcast, so we're not really. But, we're just 2 guys who like talking about Bills and Sabres and Buffalo sports and sometimes some entertainment in there, and 2 big Seinfeld fans. And we try to keep it lighthearted. We try to find the right balance between, lightheartedness and fun and deep down, analytical stuff. So we do some fun segments like the Hansel Award, if you're familiar with Zoolander, because Hansel was a character every time he came on screen they said he was so hot. So we do that what's hot right now, or we do one Seinfeld where we take a Seinfeld quote and relate it to how we're feeling about Buffalo sports right now. So we try to do some fun things like that. But if you want to find the podcast, search like I said, at Witty Sports 716. Our personal Twitter handles are on there as well. But the podcast can be found on any platform: iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, Spreaker, at Witty Not Funny, all one word. So
all right.
And we've also I'm sorry. We also
go ahead.
Throwing it in there too. No, we've had some cool interviews too.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And we had interviewed former Bills quarterback Jabron Hamden a while back, and then former Bills safety Kurt Schultz, among others.
Nice.
So
definitely. We just had Ryan Talbot on. He was awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's on your show.
Oh, I had Ryan on. Great guy.
Great guy.
Yeah.
I had Marty Baran on.
Oh, nice.
So Brian Blessing. I had Howard Simon and Kevin Sylvester on. So it's fun. So cover your ears for 1 second, gentlemen. Cover your ears.
Covered.
Don't tell them, but I'm the #1 podcast right now. Okay. All right, guys, it was great. Everybody, that's our wrap for tonight. I want to thank these gentlemen again, Matt Greco and Matt Carino from Witty Not Funny Sports Talk. Look for them on Twitter. Look for them on Facebook. Look for them everywhere. Everyone, have a great night.
Thanks, Rob.
Thank you.